Alrighty, guys, it is time to wrap it up for today. This Wednesday, July 15th. I mean, it's pretty much a roller coaster back and forth at the NASDAQ. It's been nothing but crazy. Overall, kind of tradable. I mean, the runs are not bad, but ES pretty much range bound. We were looking to buy weakness, at least in the right at the morning, but it turned out they got some strength, so that kind of nullified that thing. And then when it started running down in the afternoon, no, the be too aggressive buying weakness in the afternoon. That could turn out to be a bigger sell-off. Now Nasdaq had a pretty rough day. ES more range bound. They tested the 7630s. They were done testing the 7570s. Right back here to where we left them. So pretty good showing for the ES, and I would start off range bound, and I would probably stay, if anything, keep a bias to the upside. I thought it's going to do worse than it did, but they're doing pretty good. So they're holding above this 7600 level right now, building value. So they can see it a couple of trading days now. They've kind of been grinding this to the upside. So I would probably stay with a slight bias to the upside, but just emphasize range bound trading. You're going to get some strength. Right now, it looks very much like they're going to try to grind this higher. We'll see. Any headline could potentially offset that, but we had two good inflation reports to lean against. Both the CPI and the PPI were great. Earnings so far has been okay, so no reason for the market to really have a hissy fit. Tomorrow morning, we get a ton of news. We get a fair amount. At 8:30, we get jobless claims, retail sales, Philly Fed. At 10 o'clock, we get business inventories, housing market, pending home sales. We have a nat gas report, and that's about it. So, fair amount of news at 8:30 and 10 tomorrow. And that's going to be interesting to see if the market reacts to it. But retail could be an interesting number. Pay attention to. So, no trades are for me on the ES. As long as you hold above that 7600, there's a good reason to stay on the long side of this. At least favor long side. I mean, you can see it's pretty range bound, so I would just favor the long side, but not be shy of taking short trades as well against resistance. You can see how they came up into that mode, ran a little bit higher, then totally failed on that one in the morning. So no trades on this one. I did a couple of trades on the NASDAQ, but look at NASDAQ. That has been absolutely brutally, that has been like these big techs right now are really doing a number on it. But if you look at F1, you get your perspective. They're just trading in a range. They're trading in this big bulb of volume right now. Lower end of this range is down here at the 250s. Upper end of this range is at 30,000 and change. So that's where we are. And we were up here testing the upper levels this morning at the from the get-go, and then they knocked it down and down and down and down and down. Got a pretty crazy sell-off. I would say that was nothing but brutal. They took it lower, but good. Look at the F1 for perspective. That gives you a good level. I'm going to draw this one out as well, right there. Good level of resistance right there. And we can probably delete this guy in the middle. This guy's not that important anymore. So that's kind of our levels we're dealing with right now. So range bound NASDAQ in the big picture, there's a lot of range going on here. So the days feels like they're good runs in there. And if you're on the right side of it, you can certainly get on a pretty good trade. Definitely opportunities, but you have to be mindful. The market is moving, the range kind of plays tricks on you. There's a lot of range in this part. I took one trade earlier on. That was on the way down. Kind of late to that whole thing. I mean, I tried one on the after a little bit of strength here, and then went to break even, and then immediately stopped me out, and that was it. So I kind of left it there. And watching this move to the downside, like, oh man, this guy's really creaming it. But between the moves, if you try to sell a low, you have these counter rotations, which are much bigger than you think, and they will knock you out unless you have a pretty darn good stop on it. Now the last one I took two trades. One was the last one was here when I was watching it for resistance right there, and then when it started taking out this area with some conviction, I looked at that. Okay, interesting. I missed the pullback here, and I just caught my eye on it when it started trading higher again. So I joined it, hopped on a long trade, sat in that thing for a bit. It started trading higher. They were hesitating, and every time they start hesitating, I just get out of the trade because it's. I mean, this is not great trade location. So either it's going to move or it's not, and it moved a little bit. It moved a good like 708 to 720, so a good 20 points, and then they ran it down here. And this one would have been almost down to the lower end of this range. So this one was a counter rotation and a half. So no matter what you did here, if you sat in that trade, you would have been stopped out at the break-even situation. But I got out of it early. I just with the kind of volatility we got, unless if you have a shitty trade location like this, either it's moving or it's not. If it doesn't move, let's get out of it. If you get on a trade like this and it keep moving and you can feel like the pressure is to the upside, yeah, by all means, try to stick with it a little bit. But and then back to the mean. So in the mean, you don't want to get you want to get long into the mean. If you did, you would have been crying because you can see what it did after that. And buying the pullback, I have done that before. It's once it fails, you have a little squeeze to the upside. This is what this is. So you run it down here, you retrace that whole move to the downside, you squeeze it up towards the mean, and if they can't take out the mean and continue with some conviction, the counter rotation could be pretty big. And that you can see here, that was nothing to. If you try to get long here at the Tablet at 690, they took it all the way down here to 600. It's like 90 points. A little bit too much for a stop, right? It's like 400 tick stop or something. So don't want to do that. And now they are going sideways. So sideways action right now, not much going on. But I would start off range bound on the Nasdaq. If anything, I would favor. No, there's no particular favor. Just stay on the range bound on the Nasdaq. And the ES maybe keep a long bias on it, but that's kind of it. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow's news. Looking at the bonds, I did a couple of attempts to get in on the bonds. One was a short up here against that area early on here at the 06s. I canceled that order before anything got filled. I was watching it. Actually, it wouldn't have filled at all until it got all the way over to this part. That's when it actually would have filled you. And I would have given you a couple of ticks of profit to get in on. If you didn't take your profit quickly, you would have been stopped out at break even. So, but once the reason I canceled that order is really because this initial run up here, and they're just hesitating up here, not really failing in a big way. I figured that these guys are going to start to grind it higher. And assumption was right. Yes, they didn't grind very far, but this you can be stuck in this twisting in the wind kind of dynamic. So the whole move happened in the morning, and that was it. Looking at our cryptos, they've been moving. I didn't do any trading on it, but silver's been moving pretty good. They've been a nice little run up here to 58.33s and down. They were down a bit in the morning. Then the counter rotation here was pretty good. But you can see nice moves on that guy. Nice moves on gold as well. They've been up to the 4,080s and then back down. Oil is going sideways. But you can see this is starting to get choppy. That's because it's about to roll. We have that is July 20 is the expiration on that oil contract. So it's starting to get a little bit finicky. Of course, oil up at about 80. It's all now. That's all driven by the situation in the Middle East right now. So watch oil. If that stays stubbornly high or keep going higher, we're going to see some weakness in the market. Crypto, that's kind of holding. I think crypto is getting a nice little boost from the Clarity Act, which looks like it may finally be moving. So if that starts moving, that could be a positive for those. Anyway, I didn't do any trading on the cryptos today. It's been putting in new expirations for the upcoming or symbols mappings for the upcoming market rolls. So it takes a while. Anyway, back to the ES and the Nasdaq. As you can see, we're just kind of twisting in the wind right now. He has died off. Let's see what happens in that last. Well, I would wait for the last 10 minutes and see if we get some directional moves. If not, we're probably going to just sit here going into the close. So there we have it. Alrighty, guys. We'll wrap it there. Hope you did something. But if you get on a good trade, you can really make some dough when it moves like this. But chances are, with bad trade location, you'll just get chopped up as well. So you have to be really cautious about it. It's a very unforgiving market. And if you get caught in the wrong side of it, when they have moves like this, you have to take your stop, take your loss early. I mean, it's hard to do, but that's the only way to. You have to know when you're wrong and just be willing to take it. Sometimes you get high tick and low tick, and it's going to absolutely suck. But it's much better than they get caught in a run like this on the Nasdaq or the ES for that sake. Try to get short on that, pull back here for rotations down, and then find yourself getting screamed, you try to make the trade bigger, there's no counter rotation to get you out at all. And then sitting through this is just, yeah, it's not doable. Anyway, we'll leave it there, guys. So I'll see you back bright and early tomorrow, and we'll go at it again. All right, guys, later.